Get ready to talk about one of my all-time favorite movies ever made, Better Off Dead, with the crazy psycho John Cusack. And before you reach out in the comments, yes, we know I don't follow him on Twitter because he's a little nuts.
Not a little.
I love his movies.
Don't meet your heroes.
Don't meet your heroes, folks.
He's a lot weird.
He's a lot weird.
He went off.
Yeah, he did. But anyway, that's not the point. We're going to separate the art from the artist today. We're going to talk about one of my favorite movies, Better Off Dead. And I am always joined by my biggest fan, Jude.
Hello!
You and I have a special bond over this movie.
We do.
And it's amazing.
It's our movie.
It's definitely our movie. This is going to be our podcast. I don't know what these two guys are going to say.
I'm just going to go down and watch
We
Netflix
both speak the international language of this movie.
Yep. You know, movies.
Oh, shit, we were supposed to do that bit today.
That's right. I have a really special place in my heart for this movie. And I want to give a nice, big, heartwarming shout out to my sister, Audrey, who introduced this movie to me when I was a kid. Her and I, when I would go to visit her in Pennsylvania, we would sit down and we would watch everything 80s. So she's the one who kind of introduced the 80s culture into my life. And this movie is one of those pinnacles for me. We watch this movie all the time when I go to visit her. I freaking love it. And when I found out that Jude also has like this special place for this movie as well. I know
every line.
Like we were watching it not together, but together one time.
Yeah. He was like, wait, pause it. I'm gonna catch up to you.
Yeah.
And we'll watch it together. We were on the phone.
We were literally texting the lines. We were trying
to beat each other and texting the lines. And he's like, oh, God damn it, you got it first.
Like we could probably recite the entire movie together.
Jude does. Like both times we watched this movie, she's just sitting on the couch and she's literally saying line for line every single bit of dialogue.
Yes.
I'm like, hey, babe, everyone's going to be wearing one of these.
Everybody's going to be wearing one of these.
Oh, isn't it fun? Hey, babe, hey. Oh, it's a Christmas miracle.
$2.
I want my $2.
I can't swim.
Anyway, the curmudgeon Matt Vader is here as well. You hated this movie,
I did not.
I can't believe that.
You're crazy.
There's
I know.
so many people in the chat when they were doing the live watch on Discord. People were like, this is trash. And I was like,
No.
how dare you?
You get right out of here.
It's dumb.
What's the deal?
It's dumb. It's just dumb.
You're crazy.
It's silly. It's stupid, and not in a good way.
He's mad because there's no boobs.
Well,
yeah,
there's no boobs. It was just bad. I did not laugh. It grew on me a little bit as we got on, but it just came off poor. It was just not a funny movie to me. It was like they had all these dumb gags in it that just did not work. I'm sorry, guys.
I'm cracking up just thinking of the gags.
That's hilarious. I love all of them.
They're dumb.
Dude, he sleeps with a picture of his girlfriend.
Yeah.
All the coat hangers have her face.
Every single one of the pictures on the wall is a bed.
I get it. I get being obsessed with your high school girlfriend, having a picture next to you. But, they went too much into it.
Disagree.
You don't have her fucking picture on every one of your clothes hangers in your closet. It's stupid. It's dumb.
The only person that I don't know how they feel about this movie is Kadish, and I'm curious. Kadish, do you love or hate this movie?
Oh, I've been a long time lover of this movie.
Awesome.
I remember watching it when I was a kid and thinking it was the funniest thing ever. I became a Savage Steve Holland fan from that moment on. And
perfect.
He made 3 excellent movies before being basically banished from Hollywood. So sorry,
wrong camera.
I've been messing up all morning. So
sorry.
Oh, what camera was on?
It was on you.
Oh, of course it was. Moi.
Yeah,
that's great to hear.
I'm a big Savage Steve Holland fan from back in the day. Watched his cartoon show for a little while. He actually started off his career by animating the Whammy from that game show.
Press Your Luck?
Press Your Luck, yeah.
Oh, man, I loved the Whammy.
Yeah, everyone loved the
No
Whammy.
whammies, no whammies.
I did like that show. That show was fun.
Yeah, but Savage Steve Holland
We'll tell you about it later, Alex. It was a game show.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't even know who Howard Cosell was. Like, for the longest time, I've always thought the bit was funny because I knew they were referencing somebody. I just never had seen the original. So I'm like...
And he never had Google, you guys.
I was like, I just never bothered. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, they're doing an impression.
Truly a sight to behold.
So what's funny about that Howard Cosell impression is that the actor who does that, he plays Chosen in
Karate Kid.
In the Karate Kid, Yuji Okamoto. So like when he got cast, he was like, well, these guys learned to speak English from watching Howard Cosell, so I'm going to do Howard Cosell with Japanese accent. And so like, that's what he did. And in post, they brought in an impressionist to overdub him.
Oh, that's not actually him?
That's not actually him, unfortunately.
Oh, man.
Because the studio thought it was funnier if he sounded more like Howard Cosell. And so like they just overdubbed all of his lines with
What
an
a
impressionist.
disappointment.
That came out really good, though.
Yeah. But what
Like
a bummer for him.
I know, the bit works, but I do
Yeah.
kind of feel bad for him,
Yeah.
though. All right,
So
so...
wait, you like this movie, but you don't like the Goonies. Are the Goonies kids?
It's the age
young?
difference.
No, well, it is the age difference. He's a senior in high school, but also everything that's like fantastical. I want to talk about this after Jude does her synopsis, but there's something that sells the world on this movie to me, and it makes it really creative. We'll talk about it in a second. So, Jude,
Okay.
take it away.
Better Off Dead, 1985. Rated PG with a runtime of 1 hour, 37 minutes. This had a budget of $3.5 million. Alex, what do you think this brought into the box office?
I don't know, $50. I have no idea.
Okay,
It
Vader.
probably bombed.
What was the budget?
This had a budget of $3.5 million.
$2 million.
Okay. Had a budget of $3.5 million and made a box office of $10.3 million.
Good for it.
Yeah,
Good for it.
Good job, little movie.
Good job, little movie. Totally worth it.
This movie really found its audience on VHS.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep, I watched the crap out of it.
It reminds me of something you'd find on TBS.
I've watched it
100%.
every day.
I've watched it
100%.
4 times since we agreed to talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
So like,
Well, Kadish fell asleep the first time that we were watching it, and I still was like, "Hey, babe, this line. Hey, babe, this line." He's asleep the whole time. Didn't matter. And so then we rewatched like this halfway through to the end last night, which is why I texted you and I was like, "Do you want to watch it again?" But you couldn't. And I did the same thing again. I was like, "Hey, babe."
yeah, you were still texting me.
I know.
You were texting me lines from the movie.
Because where we started was right when your girlfriend comes on, and I was like, "Well, I have to text a picture of her to Alex."
Say less.
Yeah. She looks even better now.
I just saw that.
Like
yeah.
she
People
is
have no idea what we're talking
beautiful.
about.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Do the synopsis. Take it away.
Lane Meyer, truly a sight to behold. A man beaten after his girlfriend Beth breaks up with him. The once great champ, now a study in moppishness, decides that if he can ski the K-12, then Beth will take him back. He challenges Glendale's ski bully to a race to prove he's man enough to win back Beth. But by the day of the race, discovers he speaks the international language with the foreign exchange student who's been staying at the Dorkhead's house across the street. Discuss.
Love it. I love it. First, I want to talk about the mom because she's in the movie the least amount.
Yeah.
But she makes an incredible impression.
Yeah.
She is like the quintessential 80s mom.
Yeah.
And I love it.
And she's a terrible cook.
She's terrible.
but
So
she's
bad.
trying so
Yeah,
hard.
you like raisins.
Yeah, like I think the first thing that she cooks is bacon.
Bacon.
And she's like serving it to her
And it's
family like an
green.
It's
80s
green and
mom.
slimy.
It's green and she got it out of like this like bone
Cauldron.
broth pan, yeah, like a cauldron
Yeah.
and like a stew pot.
Yeah.
She's like scoops it out
And
and puts it on the plate.
husband's like,
And
I know it's bacon.
his reactions to her are always so great. He's like in the middle of a conversation. What is this?
I know it's bacon, honey. What have you done to it?
It's bacon.
She's so excited. It's like me every time I'm really excited about something and I'm terribly wrong.
The husband's played by David Ogden Steers from MASH and stuff like that, and so like he's a very good comedic actor who plays things very straight. And every time like she serves him food, the look on his face.
But he goes, "What is this?" And she goes, "It's bacon." And he
But-
goes, "What have you done to it?"
But I love her earnest explanation. It's
so
like, well, you
excited.
said you didn't like the grease from the fried bacon, so I boiled it. And it's just fucking brilliant.
Jenny Maya.
So what's funny about this movie is that it's semi-autobiographical by
tell that
Savage
story.
Steve Holland.
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to tell the story?
Well, I mean, I happen to know some background information about the movie, which is usually your job. But yeah, this movie is like more or less a true story about how he got broken up by his girlfriend in high school, she went and dated the ski guy from
ski bully?
the ski bully guy.
Discount.
And,
Stalin.
after this movie came out, his ex-girlfriend actually came up to him and apologized. She was like, it was like a whole thing that happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but before we get into that, so basically the mom in this movie is based off of Savage Steve Holland's mom, and she used to get these magazines with recipes,
Like the Better Home
yeah,
Journal.
yeah. And so like she tried to do these recipes, but she would always like be missing like an ingredient or something like that, so she'd just make it anyway. And he was like, they always turned out terrible because like it just tasted awful.
Bless her.
And one of the funniest bits in this movie, in my opinion, and it's the thing that I remember the most from when I was watching it back in the 80s, is like when she puts that green raisin slop on his plate and
It's alive.
Crawls away.
If you want to ruin anything, even for me to this day,
Put raisins in it.
put raisins in
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
Yeah, that's nasty.
I love raisins.
The only time I like raisins in anything that's cooked is if
Oatmeal
you have
cookies.
a really good oatmeal raisin cookie.
Yeah.
I think it's really good in actual oatmeal too.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
get away with that.
Yeah. Raisins and oatmeal.
Cookies-
It's like you were raised by a loving family
Yeah,
kind of a
yeah.
meal.
A poor loving family.
Yes.
Yes. I've had oatmeals and raisins before.
I wish I had more to say about this movie other than I didn't like it.
I love
just-
how much you hate it.
I
though.
just didn't like it. Nothing
I
resonated with
think
me.
you watched it in the wrong
No, I didn't. I
mindset.
watched it in our watchtower or watchtower. My iron mask on.
Do you know
really
Jesus?
I watched this movie in our watch party with three or four of our regular friends, and none of us liked it. We all hated
I was
it.
shocked. I was really shocked.
Because the movies, the gags just came off like they were jokes that Mel Brooks threw out of his movies because they were dumb.
I am
I'm
holding on to the hope that you will like it more after having discussed it with
No,
us.
I don't think I will. And the actors in this thing, we had a Booger from
Charles DeMar,
Revenge of the Nerds,
Bro.
Not you, geek.
my favorite.
Discount Ted McGinley as
the ski bully.
the ski bully. I don't even know who
I love that
other
they
guy
named him
is.
Stalin.
Yeah.
Roy Stalin.
Charles is like, don't worry about styling, kid. He's doing like a Mickey from freaking Rocky impression.
Yeah. So Aaron Dozier, whatever. I was like the ski bully
Dozier?
guy. So like when he came into audition, like he didn't know who Savage Steve Holland was because this was like his first movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he walked into the room, he basically was like, "Hey, who's the fat surfer douche?" And and Savage Steve Holland was like, "Oh, you got the part. You're the perfect ski
He
bully."
fits perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. I love his like not good, way too yellow, doesn't blend highlights.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The hair is on point for this
Yeah.
bully guy.
Yeah. Like
we
you'll
were-
make
we-
a fine little assistant.
We were joking about this guy when we were watching it live, and you were like, "This guy looks like he's 40, and he's supposed to
100%.
he's supposed to be in high school."
I said that to Kadish last night. I was like, Stalin's like 37.
I said that about all the high school kids.
Pretty much. There's a good amount of high school kids.
They all look like they're 40 years
Yeah,
old.
they all look way too old.
I mean, look at that guy. I mean, yeah, they all look like they're
John
40 years
Cusack looks like he could be a high school graduate.
He was
like,
probably like 26 when he
well,
made
who
this.
knows?
old.
So fun fact, Henry Winkler, the Fonz,
Uh-huh.
is solely responsible for this movie getting made.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he basically discovered a short film that Savage Steve Holland did at a film festival, and he loved it so much he went to Savage Steve Holland and he was like, "Hey, do you have anything that you could do it like as a feature?" And so he was like the one who godfathered this movie, and he was the one who helped convince the studio that John Cusack should star in it and stuff like that. So it's the Fonz through and through.
Wow.
Nice. Right on.
It's such a shame that John Cusack had no love for this movie. It's such a shame because he's so good in it.
Yeah, if you don't know the story, so the movie that John Cusack and Savage Steve Holland made right after this was One Crazy Summer. And they set up a special screening of this movie because it hadn't been released yet for the cast and crew of One Crazy Summer. And John Cusack walked out 20 minutes into the movie and confronted Savage Steve Holland and said, like, "This is the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
He was embarrassed of it for forever.
You tricked me. I can't trust you as a director." And basically, if he wasn't contractually obligated to shoot One Crazy Summer, he'd have quit right then and there. And for years, he disavowed this movie. Like, he just refused to talk about it. He refused to acknowledge it. And now that he's like, older, I think because people love this
He's
movie so
mellowed
much,
off.
yeah, he's mellowed out a little bit. But we talked a little bit about how crazy he is right now. And I think he was just always crazy.
Yeah,
And so-
I think Hollywood just hit it.
Yeah. But this basically ended his relationship with Savage Steve Holland because he just thought that this movie was terrible and he was embarrassed
Such a
by it.
shame.
Yeah. Don't meet your heroes, man.
Yeah.
Because he's so funny in this
Yeah.
movie, and he
And-
plays it so straight. It works.
This is a staple of like my coming of age years.
Yeah, when I think of John
constantly
Cusack,
on TV.
John Cusack is like Gross Point Blank and Better Off Dead.
Yeah,
like, those are the
this is my
staples.
favorite Cusack movie.
Yeah.
One Crazy Summer is also really good too.
I love One Crazy Summer.
And the third in the Savage Steve Holland trilogy is How I Got Into College, which is also really good, but it doesn't star John Cusack.
No, it doesn't.
But those were like the 3 movies he was able to get made before like people just stopped returning his phone calls. He went back into animation.
This is
that.
definitely better than One Crazy Summer, but I think both are a must see at least once.
Yeah, you know the funny thing about Savage Steve Holland is this was the John Hughes era. This was when John Hughes was making these like teen angst drama comedy type films.
And he's like the anti-Hughes.
Yeah, he basically came in and he did the same kind of teen angst stuff, but like funny, like irreverent. And it's one of those John Carpenter situations where like his stuff didn't really fly too well at the time, but in retrospect, it's brilliant.
Yeah. And this is what I would absolutely call like a dark comedy. Like you literally see him trying to commit suicide
multiple
and
times.
he boffs it every single time. And there's something so dark and also funny about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's okay to laugh.
There's a couple of scenes where he's trying to commit suicide. And I wanted to mention this, like the mom is so oblivious that she opens the door, kicks him off, and he's starting to hang himself. She doesn't even notice.
Yeah.
The second one that's also equally as funny is when he's sitting in the car and he's got the teddy bear, which he bought for Beth as like a Christmas present or Valentine's or something. Christmas. And he's got it hanging off the cigarette while he's sitting there freaking
trying to come off himself.
Yeah, trying to kill himself in the garage.
I will admit the subject matter is pretty wild because there's no way people would make this movie now.
Charles DeMar is constantly trying to get high.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A rest stop on the way to a ski slope. I can't even get real drugs here.
It's like there's no way this would get made now because people are so touchy and huffy puffy.
So you know how we talked about this is semi-autobiographical, and so Savage Steve Holland, when he was in high school, he got broken up by his girlfriend, and he actually tried to commit suicide. And the way he did it was he went into their garage, climbed up on a trash can, and put a noose around a pipe, and he was going to hang himself. And right before he, basically jumped off the trash can, he was like, ooh, I don't know if this is such a good idea. And at that moment, the trash can, which was plastic, basically collapsed.
Buckled.
And when he fell, he broke the pipe. And so like he got stuck in the trash can as the pipe was pouring water on him. And his mom came running into the garage, and she started yelling at him for breaking the pipe, not for trying to kill himself.
Yeah.
And so from that moment on, he started coming up with ways to kill yourself that could fail spectacularly, and he kept it in a diary. And he eventually took that diary and turned it into this movie.
That's amazing.
It's a hilarious
and that's
story.
so cathartic.
Yeah.
Jump off a bridge and the garbage truck goes in.
Man.
And that's a real shame when folks be throwing away a perfectly good white boy like that.
That's a real shame.
That's a real shame. That freaking bit was hilarious. I love the mom. Okay, so I was explaining earlier about why I love this movie. Like you mentioned the Goonies. Like, why don't I like the Goonies? Because my suspension of disbelief goes freaking way out the window.
And it doesn't go with this.
But here's the thing. With this movie, all the fantastical elements are justified because it's Lane Meyer's imagination. It's not actually happening. These things are not actually taking place in the real world. It's Lane Meyer's imagination. Like when he's sitting there at lunch and he's drawing the picture and he's got Beth and like the glob monster or whatever, and it comes to life and then he starts talking to it.
She's negging him.
Yeah, it's his imagination. When the plate of goo that his mom serves him like walks off the plate and walks away, it's not actually happening. That's his imagination going, what if this freaking thing walked off the plate?
I do think all those paper boys were after him though.
Definitely that was true.
And I do think that raisin glob was alive.
You like raisins?
I got the impression that was what really happened. The raisin glob. Okay.
The other person that we need to talk about who doesn't have much screen time, and I don't think he has one single line, is Badger, the brother.
Badger
he doesn't say anything.
A savage.
Yeah.
What's a little...
Badger's like, what is he, 8?
Yeah. Something like that.
He says, I mean,
slutty women.
Yeah. He's like, he comes up to him in his room. Badger's like tinkering with like kid shit. And
like, and he's like, why are you messing with that shit?
You're almost 8 or you're almost 9 or something. He's like, why are you messing with all this kid stuff garbage? And Badger turns around and he built his own laser gun and he fires a shot off. He builds his own rocket ship.
So
he
do you
gets
think
a book on how to meet trashy women? He's having a New Year's Eve party in his room with cocktails.
So that's the question.
He's wearing a Hugh Hefner robe.
Do you think that stuff is Lane's imagination as well? Or do you think that's real? Is Badger really like Elon Musk Jr.?
I'm not going to think about it too much. I'm going to enjoy it for what it presents.
And maybe that's why I had an issue with a lot of this movie, is because I had a hard time making the break between what was real and what wasn't in some of these things. Like the end with the space shuttle gag. And you know,
it's a post-credit scene. It's like
dumb, you know. And
it's funny because
all these hot slutty chicks are gonna come hang out with an 8-year-old in his bedroom.
Dude,
get the fuck out of here. That was stupid.
Well, what's a little boy like you doing?
Women do.
Big boy schmutt like this.
It's just dumb.
You got Foxy Woman playing in the background.
Yeah.
What's a little boy like you doing with big boy smut like this?
Humor, you know, I'm not gonna lie. I had some I love the when Porky showed up because he kept running in the back of his truck.
Yeah,
you know, from
Mars.
He's from the movie Porky's. I didn't know if you knew that.
I'm gonna break your skinny little neck.
So Savage Steve Holland had a job at McDonald's when he was a teenager, and so originally that was going to be a McDonald's, but then the studio was like, we'll get sued.
We don't want to go to war with McDonald's.
Yeah, so they changed that, and he cast the guy who played the owner of Porky's in Porky's for that role specifically.
Perfect.
And one of the most famous parts of this movie is that claymation burger thing doing Van Halen. And that was actually inspired because, claymation wasn't like really a big thing in Hollywood at the time, but Savage Steve Holland had seen a short film in New York based off of Ed Koch, who was claymated as a sundae or like ice cream sundae or something like that. And he was like, you know what, that's really cool. Instead of doing this gag at McDonald's, I want to do like a claymation hamburger type thing. And that's eventually like what made it into the film.
Funny enough, like I don't dislike that part, but that is, if I was going to rank the movie on like favorites and least favorites, that's my least favorite segment. I feel like it's a little out of place and it goes a little too far.
But I like that they bring it back later when he's on the date with Monique, and the burgers are also on a date.
Yeah, they're
outside
sitting
the
outside the restaurant. Yeah, it's funny. It's a good bit. I think it went a little bit too long. It took too long for them. They did like the whole musical thing.
Like, he was Frankenstein.
I think I just had an issue with all the different types of humor he was throwing in this thing. I feel like it couldn't quite find a groove. Like, there's the bit with his mom or his brother, whoever, cutting all the labels off the fucking.
Hilarious.
It's not funny though.
Badger likes the prizes you can get inside the cereal box.
And the cereal keeps spilling out.
That's not normal.
No, it's not normal. You know what this is? You know what this
dumb.
is? It's a precursor to the future Saturday Night Live movies where they basically just string together a bunch of gags in the framework of a loose plot.
So maybe this needed Adam Sandler in it.
Oh God,
really
no.
dumb. Yeah.
No, he's too much.
Yeah, I did like the $2. I want my $2 kit.
That
was pretty funny.
That was actually based on a real thing too, where Savage Steve Holland had this newspaper boy named Jimmy Gasparini, who
That's a great name.
That's an amazing name.
Who kept harassing him for $2.
Meryl Streep. Jimmy Gasparini. Fucking Jimmy.
Still owe that fucking $2.
which is actually $5 in today's money.
Oh yeah, Jesus, price is going up. Okay, so let's see. We have to talk about Monique and the Smiths.
The French kid?
The French 40s.
The dork head?
We're gonna like get a foreign exchange student to make a sex slave out of her for my
That's
son.
pretty dark, huh?
That's some dark shit.
Some dark shit.
Not as dark
really
as
is.
her mom blowing up her face.
Oh my God.
I'm real sorry. This moonshine tastes just like the stuff his pappy used to make.
This is excellent liqueur. It reminds me of the moonshine Ricky's dead pappy used to make.
You know what?
God bless him.
Since you said that, you know what this movie reminds me of? It reminds me of probably a bunch of dumb skits that never made it to the show of Saturday Night Live.
Maybe.
It's like they had all these different things that they pitched,
Yeah.
and Lorne Michaels is like, nah, no, and this guy like,
Savage Steve was like, I'll show you.
and this guy was like a janitor at the SNL building. He just like swept them all up and
I don't know, dude.
kept
Like
all the clippings or something.
the creativity behind it, though, is what really sells it to me. Like
Yeah.
the way
The
that
earnestness.
yeah, the way that Lane Meyer's his lens of looking at high school, like this scene with the math class is genius in my opinion, because you're hearing the commentary from the teacher and it's just nonsense.
The geometric metaphors can derive a repeated vectoral sum.
This is your nightmare about high school.
It makes no sense at all, but everybody else gets it but you. And I'm like, I was that kid.
Yeah.
I went through algebra like 3 times. I was like, I don't fucking know what I'm doing.
And everyone's so excited
they're
to
like,
be a part of this class.
Pick me. And I'm like, please don't pick me.
And he's like, okay, pull out your homework. And everyone has these big elaborate projects. And Lane pulls out a piece of paper with a stick of gum inside it that says do homework.
And I worked at a restaurant when I was in high school, and I had a boss who he was an ass. And I worked at a pizza shop, and it was the same thing. Like, you go in there and it's like, Meyer. And it's just like, oh, fuck. This guy's coming back.
And then like seeing your boss outside of work.
Yes. Oh, super weird. So like, I feel like I've lived a little bit of this kid's life. So that's why I kind of, I get it. Like,
you
I
identify with him.
I identify with the lens that he sees the world through.
We've all been obsessed with someone who has broken up with us.
I was a little obsessed with my high school girlfriend too.
Yeah.
But I wasn't ever like this. This was just weird. We got a question from the chat.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Was the foreign exchange girl,
Monique,
did she play Joan of Arc and Bill and Ted?
Yes.
She did.
Yes.
Okay.
Same.
Yep.
Okay.
No, it wasn't Joan of Arc. It was one of the princesses.
Or was it?
Yeah, it was one of the princesses. I'll look it up right now.
All right. Anyway, just a question. I thought she was really cute. She's my favorite character in the movie.
Oh, she's awesome. I
want to say she's also in Accepted with Justin Long.
Justin Long?
I think she's like the mom.
Well, the girl who plays Beth,
I'll look it up.
right before this movie came out, she was in Nightmare on Elm Street. She was Freddy Krueger's first victim in that movie.
Oh. Tina.
And in this film, during the Halloween party, there's a shot of her and the ski bully, and one of the guys is dressed up as Freddy Krueger, who's like right behind her. That was like a little nod to that.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
I noticed his sweater, but I didn't grab that. That's great. That's a great catch.
Let's talk about the high school dance, because I think that might have been the peak for this movie for me.
Yeah.
Like I've always had.
So that's when Alex had his, explain the girlfriend joke.
Alex got his first boner to this.
I might have. Yeah. It was like. That I don't even know who that singer is, if she really was a singer from the 80s. Was she like a famous person in the 80s?
Not really. She's been in movies, and she's obviously musical, so she has had music in her career. I don't think she was ever famous for music, but what she does now is a lot of voiceover.
Okay, good.
Yeah, she does a lot of animation.
Need to get a hold of her.
Right, yeah. Let me look her up real quick. I'll tell you her IMDb.
But that scene is just so chock full of so many hilarious bits. Like when he walks in, the ski bully's like, oh, you better give her a shave before you kiss her, and Charles DeMar just dies laughing.
Better shave her a little closer before you kiss her goodnight.
She finds it funny.
Starts cackling like an asshole the whole. God, she's gorgeous.
Look at this woman. She's gorgeous.
Better off dead than to be without you.
That's the singer.
Gorgeous.
Singing.
But
in the silver dress. She's gorgeous.
Like you.
Shit. Oh. Look at that one.
So you got Charles DeMar doing his thing, and then immediately after that, you get Ricky Smith walking in. He busts open the door, and then he sits there, and he puts his hands on his hip, and then he starts freaking gyrating to the music.
Yeah.
The whole Ricky Smith bit in that thing was hilarious. And then my favorite moment, and right after that, is when Monique leaves and she meets Lane for the first time.
She's a delightful girl with a firm grip.
Yes, and Ricky comes running after her with a yellow balloon. And then as he's running after her, he lets the balloon go and looks back. And, then he does the little...
I said that to Kadish last night. I was like, I love that jump he does.
The jump. And then he turns around and walks away.
So the singer,
yes,
Elizabeth Daily, one of her more recognizable roles was, if you've ever watched Pee-wee's Big Adventure, she's Dottie.
Okay. No, I've never seen that movie.
Jesus. But she's Buttercup in the Powerpuff Girls.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is nuts. I had no idea.
She was Babe in.
Oh, because she's doing the rounds at like the conventions and stuff.
She plays Tommy Pickles.
Oh my God.
She's awesome.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. She's
you're such an
ass. So much voiceover.
Being so sarcastic.
Oh my God! Wow, that's amazing.
That's crazy.
If I had done a well-known animation character, you'd be like, my friend's the shit.
I would.
Yeah.
I would. You're right.
Anyway, let's talk about Monique. I fell in love with French girls during this movie.
Yeah, she's super cute.
God, help me push it into the garage. And I was like, oh my gosh, you work on cars?
I texted you that phonetically.
I know.
What do they say? Mercy bookcase?
Yeah.
Something
Mercy buckets.
Mercy buckets. And he goes, Polly Voo.
Yeah. And then when she's ranting about Ricky Smith outside the house, when she's throwing the oranges at the sign, and she's like, he's putting his tentacles all over me, or testicles all over me. Yeah. It's like, no.
He goes, I'm sorry, what?
What?
Testicles, like octopus.
Octopus. God, I love that freaking scene.
Can you slurp Jello through a straw?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Is that possible?
Yep.
But again,
I don't recommend it.
The world building in this movie is on point, dude. You got Ricky Smith, who's just like the ultimate like nerd fat dude, but he's like sucking the Jello. And then you scroll over to Charles DeMar, and he's snorting it up his nose.
He's been on a mission to get high this whole movie. I really feel for him.
Yeah. The best joke in this movie is when they're on the mountain.
Oh God!
And he's talking about how it's made of pure snow.
Look at this. Do you have any idea what the street value of this mountain is?
And
I can't feel my right arm.
I love their reactions to each other too.
Yeah.
Like when Lane is like, would you get serious? And when Charles DeMar is like, all right.
Buck up, little buddy.
Here's what you do.
Go that way. Really fast.
Yeah.
And if something gets in your way, turn.
And that's the exact same advice that the French girl gives him at the end of the movie.
He goes, what a coach. And Charles is like, yeah.
Brilliant.
And what's funny is, so, you've heard of him as Charles DeMar, but the actor's name is Curtis Armstrong. He played Booger in Revenge of the Nerds.
He's also the vice president.
He's the Charles DeMar of our hearts.
He's in one of my favorite TV shows right now that I don't know if it's still going right now, but New Girl. He's the principal in New Girl.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, he's had a long and storied career. He shows up in lots of stuff, but he is the perfect like foil to John Cusack's character in this movie, because he's just so off the wall. He's always wearing like top hats, and he's like trying to get high.
He's like my friend Steven.
Yeah.
What's the town that they live in? What's the name of it?
Glendale?
Glendale is a bodaciously small town. You can't even buy real drugs here. God damn it! Every line he says.
You know how long it takes to get up here?
Yeah, I kept wondering that too.
You know how many characters I've based on Mrs. Smith?
What were you gonna say? So they keep going up to the top of this mountain. How the hell do they get up there?
Well, it's California.
Like
they just drive over to Yosemite.
Oh,
It's probably Mammoth or something like that.
I was like, why don't you have chains on your tires?
I wonder what. Oh, dude, trying to drive a Camaro, a real well drive, real drive. Trying to drive a Camaro in snow like that without any kind of like chains or studs, you're not going to get.
You better have a trunk full of like stone.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know.
Those of us who grew up where it snows.
I have zero salt for this movie. It is by far, from beginning to end, my absolute favorite.
What do you think is the best gag in the movie?
Oh God, that's so hard to say.
Because there's this scene, and we're watching it right now in the studio, where basically there's this girl who's dating the entire basketball team.
Oh yeah.
And
not certain members of the team, Lane. The
whole team.
And there's a scene here where she's on roller skates, and to impress her, John Cusack also goes on roller skates, and he accidentally rips off her dress, and she's like in bra and panties. I remember when I was a kid and I saw that scene, it changed me. It did something to me.
This is absolutely a gag, because as someone who used to wear a cheerleading uniform, you never just wear bra and panties underneath your uniform, because
you gotta have the shorts.
The skirt is so short, you have to wear. It's just called briefs. Yeah, you have to wear a specific uniform brief underneath.
Like all of the caricatures of people that you knew in high school exist in this movie. You've got got like the redneck grunt. You've got the overly sensitive leotard wearing guy with the
and then like when they announce like Lane Meyer is gonna defeat Roy Stein, all of the geeks come up and they're like,
good job, Lane, good
because
job.
Roy has bullied all of them.
Yeah. So he's got fun fact about the end of this movie. And I don't know if it's a mistake or what, but
I love this part.
Yeah. The teacher drives away with Beth, and he's just sitting there like, oh my God. Love it. So they have the big race at the end of the movie where Lane has to go down the hill. He has to beat Stalin at the K-12.
Skiing on one ski.
And there's something following him. Freaking hilarious.
That part where Jimmy Casperini goes over the side of the mountain.
I feel like the universe has kept us from watching this together for a reason.
The universe would explode, Jude.
Yeah, it's going to create a black hole. And we're both going to be like, we should go in, right?
I will admit, I am happy to find out that this is where that French dressing thing is, that you guys always have said. I never realized that this is where that was from.
She picks up a bottle of Perrier and she goes, Peru. Jenny Meyer, you really go to the outer limits to make an impression.
Yeah.
Freaking Mama Smith.
I wish
Wait,
I could get on board with
I want to
this.
hear Alex's
okay, my friend. Oh God, my
about
favorite
the ending.
Oh, the ending. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right.
And your favorite bit?
I have to go do it. I don't know if I have a favorite bit because the whole movie's
Okay.
gold. But the ending of the movie. So if you watch how it goes down, Lane hops up there. He's on his one ski, and the way you do a timed ski lap is you don't start at the same time. You start at 2 separate times with 2 separate stopwatches, and whoever gets to the finish in the shortest amount of time wins. So during the race, Lane goes down first on his one screen. They start his timer, and then it cuts to him going down the hill, and then it cuts back to Stalin, and then his guy starts his time watch, and then Stalin goes down the hill. And then by the end of the race, Stalin is only like half a second or less behind Lane. So technically, Stalin actually won the race, but nobody gives a shit because he did it on one ski and he's the underdog, and everybody's like, yeah.
But if you notice in the beginning, Stalin doesn't stop the stopwatch until it exceeds the time.
Yeah, he cheats Lane out of being on the ski team.
Yeah, so that's his comeuppance.
There's a little back and forth there, but I just thought it was interesting. Favorite gag? Jesus, I don't know. It's got to be something with Ricky. Ricky is such a freaking creep. Which is fitting because he's actually a creep in real life too, apparently.
Is he really?
Yeah. Yeah, he touched a bunch of kids during the Nickelodeon days. Yeah, Ricky Smith is a creep. In real life and in this movie.
Oh no.
It's well, you know, a lot of people in this movie are creeps, I guess.
Typecasting. Yeah. Okay, I will tell you one thing that I love. Oh God, having known that now, I hate saying that I love it. But when
separate the art from the artist.
Yeah.
You have to.
But God, it just makes me think like, oh shit, he wasn't really acting then. So when Mrs. Smith comes out and her face is all like casted, and she's like,
"What are you doing out
Ricky's
here?
been looking all over for you." And they go in the house, and Ricky turns back to Lane and he gives him that eyebrow.
Yeah.
And he's wearing a robe.
Yes.
Like he's gonna go in there and like
and try and touch her.
Yeah,
it's creepy.
Yeah, it's creepy, but it works.
It works in this movie because you're like, what the hell is going on?
I like their Christmas present to the French foreign exchange student. It's just a picture of him.
Oh, yeah, you know, Christmas. Now you can take.
Friend. You have friends in France?
What are you doing?
The dad.
She did the same thing to me when we were watching it.
Wow, man. As a father now, I can appreciate the father's plight in this movie with the garage door being broken all the time.
Oh, and him trying to get the kids lingo from that book.
Oh my God.
Your children and drugs.
Books are amazing.
Amazing, yeah. Right off. Right on, Dad.
You're really bringing
Bring me over, man.
I understand you kids love this disco stuff.
Disco, come on, Dad.
I feel like there were better actors available to fill some of these roles.
This is perfect. You're crazy.
I'm gonna bludgeon you with this bottle of whiskey.
Can you imagine like John Lithgow in the dad role?
I
Wouldn't
could
that have been better?
see that, but I don't need that.
I don't know.
Then you know,
They just have the same
the
hairline.
guy from MASH, David Ogden Stiers.
Could seem like John Candy, maybe.
I think that you need to stop trying to fix this movie and just fix yourself.
But that's supposed to be what we do, right?
This movie doesn't need fixing.
It does. It needs a
in this
lot of
case.
fixing.
The mom giving the Christmas
It's got
gifts.
corn in it.
You like corn.
You know, the parents,
like
the parents
Savage
can be
Steve Holland actually, like his mom for his birthday gave him TV dinners because he liked the peach cobbler in them.
Bro, can you rewind this really quick? I don't mean to throw another ball at you while you're juggling the freaking production, but Beady, the fucking robot.
Yeah, it's in the corner.
It's in the corner in this movie when they're giving Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned that when we were watching it, and I was like, oh my God, you're right.
Beth, I gotta go. The Christmas tree's on fire.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. If you watch, so they're giving the Christmas gifts, and the fact that the mom is giving microwave dinners to everybody is just adorable.
I think it's
and having the fire on the TV instead of actually having a fireplace.
Oh, people do that now.
I've literally done that.
I did that last year.
Are you serious?
Yeah. There was The Witcher one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did too.
I did
the Witcher one is great.
I did the Minecraft one for my kids.
Okay.
It's a Minecraft fake fireplace on your TV.
Okay,
Witcher
there's also
one
a
does-
Harry Potter one, which is very nice.
The Witcher one does some weird stuff once.
All right, so here it comes right here.
Stack.
Oh, this, yeah. And her outfit.
Parmesan.
Beady, beady,
There's Beady right there. And he's got Dr. Metropolis or whatever the hell on his chest, too.
The funniest is the dad's aardvark fur coat.
Great.
I love it when he
Everyone's
zips it and he goes, "It's certainly
warm.
warm."
The aardvark stuff, I just did not laugh at. I'm sorry, I just did not.
Dude, when he goes outside and his neighbor has one, it's fucking brilliant.
Everyone's going to be wearing one of these.
love it.
She's like,
I guess
it's from Ricky.
I guess I just don't understand.
She's so proud of her son. I am Mrs. Smith.
And it's
you don't
his
want to
gift
be
is just
her.
a picture of himself. It's a bad picture too.
He's like this in the frame.
I don't understand why you guys
So
like this
proud.
bad movie.
So proud. I do love Monique's dress in this scene though.
And I really don't understand
Monique's
you.
got style.
I really don't understand you.
Why?
I get her. She's twisted and weird and likes all kinds of bad shit. You, however, do not. So I don't understand why you like this
I don't know, man. It's just got a special place for me.
It's a sister thing.
It's dark enough for him to appreciate the humor.
That's true. I am a dark, fucked up person.
Yeah.
And when things are too happy-go-lucky, goofy, I don't like them.
Because
but this movie's pretty dark.
But at the same time, it's not the only time that I don't like funny movies that everybody. I hate Spaceballs. I don't know why I hate Spaceballs, but I fucking hate it. I just loathe that movie. And
I feel like you should watch it with Tom.
What's the chick's name?
Fuck him up.
What's the chick's name that he goes out on the date with? Something Greenwald.
Joanne Greenwald.
Greenwald.
Yeah, the one with the antenna on her head.
That might be
horrible thing.
That might be. He's spraying the aerosol freaking deodorant.
This is your chance to go out with a real stud.
I need to do an experiment. I need us to watch a movie that I thought was funny 30 years ago that I haven't watched.
Are we going to do Porky?
I think we're going to do Porky.
I've never seen Porky.
I've never seen it either. It'll be first watch.
I've seen Meatballs.
I want to know if I still think it's funny.
Okay.
Because I love that movie, and there's boobies in it.
All right,
I do like that date though, where she comes out and she's like, "I don't want to date you either." So we spent this much on the date.
Give me that. What is it? 1357.
1326.
Yeah.
We'll call it even.
And he's like, "Do you take a check?"
Brilliant.
Her dogs are like terrorizing. Yeah.
How about Chevy Chase as the dad?
Stop.
No, you don't. No. Because he's too ranty.
How about Kitty and Red?
He wouldn't have tolerated the stuff that goes on in this movie. Red.
So I want to talk about my favorite bit.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah, I don't have one. It's literally the whole movie.
It starts with a suicide attempt.
Okay.
Terrible.
And it ends with a bang. I love it when he sees in the newspaper somebody set themselves on fire, and he's like, "Oh, that's genius." And he takes his
paint thinner.
his bedclothes off, and he makes himself
quilt.
like a suicide outfit.
Yes.
And he puts his tie around his head. Like it's a whole ensemble. Like he's getting dressed up for it. And he finds like some gasoline in the
mason
in
jar.
the garage, in the mason jar, and he's literally painting it on himself. And the clueless mom is like, "Oh, Lane, we've been waiting for you. Come sit down." And they start having dinner, and he like tosses a salad out of his plate. He pours it in the bowl, and he's painting it on himself at the dinner table. And Mrs. Smith is just like, "Oh, great idea," and she's like pouring herself, and it's gone. And she's like,
she drinks the whole thing.
"This is fabulous. Reminds me of the
the moonshine." Yeah.
And then she goes to light a cigarette, and he all of a sudden, as she's doing her monologue, you can see him going, "Huh?
Yeah.
Oh shit,
Yeah.
Mrs. Smith, no!" And you just see, and the next scene, he's driving them both to school, and he goes, "Gee, I'm real sorry your mom blew up, Ricky."
Yeah, that's a brilliant bit.
Amazing.
I love it.
Amazing.
All of them. Every single one is my favorite.
And then they adopt some ducks.
I think it might have been the street value of the mountain bit might be my favorite one because that's the one I quote the most often. When I go snowboarding, you best believe I'm quoting this movie. I go up there and I'm like, this mountain is pure snow. I'm at like fucking Brian Head just like doing fucking lines in the corner.
Can't feel my arm.
I can't feel my right arm.
Ricky, get us skis. We're going home.
I think my favorite part in this, aside from every time the mom tries to cook, is when David Ogden Stiers sits down with Lane and tries to have like a man-to-man talk where he's like, "You're gonna start doing this traditional thing where kids court each other again." He's like, "You mean date?" He's like, "Yes." And like he's just like so out of touch with his teenage son. He's like,
it's
having
like
to
he's
refer to a
100
book.
years old.
Yeah. But it hits home because like sometimes when I'm talking to our kid, I feel like that. I don't know, like, so Minecraft, Mr. Beast, whatever.
I have heard you talk to him, and I'm like, what is he saying?
Yeah,
he's like, "How was your day?"
I think that's the other thing too about this movie. I really do genuinely feel like it's timeless. Like obviously it's an 80s movie, but it applies to every
These
generation.
relationships
I
have
think
not gone
it
away.
might be starting to show its age a little bit. Yeah, it's like these kids these days.
Get out of here,
listen,
Vader.
No, listen, man. I work with this kid, and by kid I mean he's 25. All right. So he's not a kid. He's a grown ass adult, but he's 25. And it's all about Tinder and just
the kids are still using Tinder.
Being weird, man. It's like I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like he makes me feel really old because just I can't relate.
I was married before Tinder, so I don't.
Yeah, I don't understand that whole scene at all. But
anyway,
yeah, it's very strange.
We've gushed over this enough. Let's wrap it up. Obviously, if you can't tell, this is a 5-star movie for me.
Yeah,
top and bottom, it's brilliant. I can quote the entire thing. If you come over to my house and say, "Hey, let's watch Better Off Dead," yes,
I'm never gonna not want to watch it.
Yeah. We need to do a watch party. We've been trying to do a watch party together, and it just doesn't happen. Like the universe won't let it happen. Yeah. Like there's always somebody's.
Yeah, you got the flu.
I did
the last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible. And then last night I was working.
You had to watch the other movie.
I had to watch the other movie
today.
But anyway, 5-star movie for me. I love it. Jude, same for you?
Yeah. So this is a movie that it's not just something that is nostalgic from my childhood. It's a movie that I still enjoy today. And like watching it with Kadish, I don't think we've ever watched it together before having to watch it for this. And like listening to him laugh at some of the bits, and I was like, oh, yeah, yes. It like so validated my love of it. This will never get old. Everyone in it is absolutely perfect in their roles. There's so much I could say that I love about this movie. I have based my own characters that I've done professionally on Mrs. Smith. And like we've talked about before, like you don't do an impression of someone, you do a bad impression of someone, and that's how you make it your own. And I have made my own Mrs. Smiths and several of different characters that I've done because I love her character so much. And I think I might actually be her eventually. Eventually. We'll see.
Evolve into her.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. All right, Kadish.
So this is not a 5-star movie for me, but I do love Savage Steve Holland films. I wish that he'd make more of them. This one is a solid 4.
Okay.
I agree with you. Like it does age well. The characters are all interesting and memorable. The gags for me still work. I think like it's a very imaginative and funny movie, and I enjoy it every time I watch it. And I do have some nostalgia member berries for this movie because I used to watch it a lot when I would visit my cousins in Oklahoma when I was a kid. And it was one of those movies that would just come on like regular TV, and they'd like take out all like the swear words and kind of racier stuff, but at the same time they kept a lot of the gags intact, and it was a lot of fun. So yeah, solid 4 stars for me.
Yeah.
All right.
And those are all the people we have on the podcast.
Yep, that's it. That's everybody. Thanks for watching, guys.
I'm bringing the average down. I'm bringing the average way down.
Come on, man. Look at Ricky Smith and tell me that's not funny.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
You know.
As the only person at this table who is actually the age of the people that are being portrayed.
Granted.
In this actual movie, this movie sucks. This movie fucking sucks.
You're insane.
All right, the gags
let them talk.
They mostly don't work. They're mostly off. They got knockoff actors to get because they couldn't afford the real people to play. It's just it doesn't work for me, guys. There's some things that I think are funny. I'm not going to give it a 1-star crap fest. I'm not going to do that.
I thought you were going to.
You know, the $2 gag is kind of timeless. It's funny. I like it. I like the paper boy. You know, the French chick she's cute. She's hot. She's very French. Yeah, I like her.
French.
Ricky's creepy. Don't like him. I don't like his mom. I don't like him. I think it's a weird character. No, I do not.
Come on, bro.
I don't like John Cusack, unless it's in 2012. I like 2012. That was a fun movie.
A disaster movie?
I know, right? But, you know, knock off Ted McGinley. No, this guy does. There's just so much stuff in this movie is just dumb and doesn't work for me. I'm sorry. I don't.
No, you don't have to apologize.
I don't want to like rain on your guys' parade.
You're not going to ruin this movie for me.
I don't want to do that.
Destroy it. Like,
but
I found out
if I want to watch a funny high school or college age kid movie based in this time period, I'll watch a movie like Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah.
Or Porky's or any Hughes movie.
So we'll give you Porky's.
You know, that kind of stuff.
We'll review Porky's as soon as we can.
Give me the Breakfast Club. Or
overrated.
Or you know what's the one with the redheaded chick? Something 16
Candles.
Pretty in Pink. 16 Candles.
Yeah.
You like that movie better than this?
All of the Molly
movie.
Ringwald movies. Yeah.
You know, those are more accurate to my experience growing up in that time frame.
Yeah.
You know, this
Breakfast
movie,
Club is the other movie. I know every single word
I
of.
love that movie. It's a great movie. This movie is dumb to me. And it doesn't resonate. I'm gonna give it a 2 stars. I'm sorry. 2 stars.
Okay.
2 stars.
All right.
So I know I'm on my hill by myself.
Yep.
I don't care.
I give it 5 Ricky's dead pappies.
I just don't feel like this. I feel like this movie needed to figure out what it wanted to be because there was too many styles of things in it. So
hard to disagree.
But
that's okay.
For the next 45 minutes, Alex and I are going to go back and forth with movie lines.
Well, we could, I mean, if you guys, actually, that's a great segue. So that's perfect. Thank you, Jude.
Please don't.
So if you guys are still watching this podcast and you like what we do and you want to support us, go to saltynerdclub.com. We're going to continue this conversation on a little bit longer, and Jude and I are probably going to just swap lines for a little while.
I know something is wrong.
You put this testicles all over me. If you guys want more of that, go to saltynerdclub.com. You're also going to get Star Trek commentary videos that we're doing this year. We're watching the original series of Star Trek, having a ton of fun checking that show out, and you guys get to have the video along with you. Well, I can't explain how this works, but YouTube doesn't like it. Watch along with us as we watch about Star Trek.
Right, otherwise, YouTube will never let you see it.
Yeah. It has to be a club member.
Copyright infringement. We have to do that only in the paid portion of our shit.
Or we can get away with illegal shit.
Don't say that.
I'm sorry.
They're gonna come to your house, and we're going to be another man down. We used to have 5 members on the podcast.
He's gone. Dusty's gone.
Yeah. This is the threat that my mother in the 80s used to tell me. We used to have another kid. You used to have a brother. We don't have anymore.
You've heard the one where it's I brought you into this world, I can take you out?
100%.
Yeah.
My mom still says that.
Yeah. 100%. All right, guys. That's it for the podcast. Thank you for watching. Make sure to comment below your favorite gag. If you love this movie, did you grow up watching it, or are you on Team Vader?
Yeah.
Is it trash? Was it hot garbage?
Pop it in the comments. What's your favorite part?
Yeah. We might have to do a poll.
I know.
too.
I have at least a couple.
You got a couple. The watch party was pretty critical.
Friends.
I was the only one in there laughing.
I think they were just trying to stay on his good side.
Maybe.
He's intimidating.
No, not at all.
Maybe.
They don't need to do that. They know that.
All right, V, tell people what you got going on Saturdays. Let's get that out of here.
Saturdays, we got the show where we talk about whatever's going on out there, right? We have our team, Brian from the Popcast, Matt, me, and Odin pops in a lot from OMB Reviews, and we generally have another guest host come on and join us on a weekly basis, Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Salty Saturday mornings right here on this channel.
Cool. Jude, anything going on?
I got shit going on.
Great. Awesome. Kadish, take it away, buddy.
If you guys wouldn't mind heading over to Apple Podcasts and giving us a 5-star rating, we would really appreciate it, because we need 200 of those suckers in order to be officially accredited as movie reviewers on Rotten Tomatoes.
Just go hit it. Go hit the 5 stars.
I want my 5 stars. You owe me $2. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Stay salty. Adios.